A little while back, I showed you my front yard A4, and we did a compression test and a leak down test on it, and we figured out that cylinder number 2 has a burnt valve or a chunk missing out of the valve. We're about to verify that, but I'm tearing this thing down, and you know, it's all basic stuff, so I'm not showing you stuff over and over and over. But for some reason, I don't know if there's a correlation, but someone recently had this engine apart and put the cylinder head back on. I don't know why. They put the silicone sealer on, and there's scored camshafts. It's borderline throw away the camshafts or borderline try to polish them out, and I don't like being on the borderline. So the exhaust camshafts always seem to be fine. If there's any scoring, it always seems to be the intake. Of course, you can have the screen situation. I didn't even look at this one yet. I don't see the screen in there. Let me take a look at, where did I put this one? Right here. The screen is blown out, so it's somewhere in there. Maybe it dropped down in the oil pan. Anyway, this whole thing's coming apart, so next we're going to, I pinned the tensioner. It's an updated tensioner with an old style chain. So I don't know why they did that as well. Let's see if I can just persuade this front case off from the top. Give it some swift, quick licks so I don't really bend anything. There we go, look at that. It's the updated style tensioner, but all the chains are the old style. They might have pinned the tensioner too. I don't think that that really looks like aftermarket sealant. That's a pretty nice machine bead all the way around. So they probably just pinned the tensioner. Maybe this was, because this was 2012, maybe this is a factory updated tensioner and factory older style chains. In 13, they went completely new style chain, new style tensioner, and then the longer rails from the factory. All right, next step is drop this rail and then pull the camshafts and pop the cylinder head off. Here you go, folks. I pulled the cylinder head off. I didn't initially see anything until I did the water test. Well, I've got some washer fluid. You know, these valves look weird. It looks like they're sticking out more. Looks like those are sticking out more. Like these are further in the seat. All right, here you go, folks. I've got the cylinder head off. I don't see any damage on the cylinder walls. Everything looks beautiful in all 4 cylinders. And as I diagnosed with the leak down test, I didn't initially see anything going on with this cylinder head. I had to do the old water test, and I'm using washer fluid. Just looking at it, everything looks fairly normal. Of course, there's a little bit of wetness because I already did the test, but if you'll notice, cylinder 1 is holding fluid and cylinder number 3 is holding fluid, but cylinder 2 and cylinder 4 are not. We've got some fluid on this right side holding, so this valve is holding a little bit, and then on this one, this left side here is holding. So now let me pour some fluid in here so you can see what's going on. This is going exactly in the exit, the exhaust side. That valve is absolutely pouring. You see how there's a little bit of a chip in the bottom of it? Now let's check cylinder number 4 here. See it pouring out? This valve right here is seated, but cylinder 4 is just pouring. Let's flip it around and check the intake valves. Let's take a look at the carbon buildup situation. We've got some sloppy carbon. Now we're going to pour the washer fluid in the intake ports. I'm spilling all over the place. Oh well. You know what? You can just watch the ports here. It'd be better if I had both hands and didn't slop everything around, but we can watch to see if anything's leaking from the top. Of course, if you get anything in here, it's going to go down to the combustion chamber where the fuel injector pokes out right here. But it would appear that all 8 intake valves are holding. Now let's see if we can notice any leakage. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take compressed air and we're going to blow it on the cylinder head around the valves and see if bubbles come up through. These valves would have had some water on them anyway because they were leaking from the other side that I tested, so it doesn't matter if I spilled. We got to do the test this way. If it's leaking, if I blow compressed air around these valves, the face of the valves, air bubbles should pop up. Now you might see a little bit come through this injector hole, but I don't see any air bubbles yet. Okay, all the intake valves are good, but obviously we've got 2 cylinders on the exhaust side that need work. So this entire cylinder head, every single cylinder head I got, it always gets rebuilt by the machine shop. I don't mess around and try to do it myself. I let them do all the work. And then when they get done, they get bagged up plastic like that and set up on the shelf, ready for an install. But I only spend that kind of money on my best cylinder heads. And remember, this one has some slight scoring on the intake camshaft and in the journals just a little bit. I'll have to evaluate. Like I said, this one's on the border, but some of them got to get new cylinder heads, and new cylinder heads cost a little bit more than rebuilt cylinder heads.